Hi everyone, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. Here's the recent information that I found about the war with Israel and Iran. And Trump once again is threatening to fire Jerome Powell. Now he's head of the Federal Reserve. And Trump has resorted to name calling, such as a numbskull and a dumb guy. And also saying that he is obviously a Trump hater. But in my own opinion, I think he knew that this war was coming and knew that if Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, you're looking at oil prices jumping to possibly even $300 a barrel, they're saying. Yeah, even 175 to 300, definitely 300 would be devastating for the economy. About 30% of the world's oil does go through the Strait of Hormuz. We recently sent the USS Nimitz there to the Mediterranean, and I think it's a ploy hoping that it will be sunk. It is scheduled to be decommissioned in about 18 months, but it does have a rich history with the U.S. Navy. Yeah, I think they're setting it up to be destroyed for a false flag. Maybe a false flag attack. Maybe it would be sunk by some group there who does back Iran, but I think it's being deliberately sent there. Originally, the Nimitz was supposed to go to Vietnam, but yeah, they turned around and headed to the Middle East. Putin has said he will not give military aid to Iran because Iran has not asked for it. He has sent weapons and rockets and missiles and defense systems. They were supposed to get the S-400 system maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. They haven't been turned on. I think the reasoning is because once they're turned on, they could be targeted by Israel. But Putin's got his own chess moves that he's doing. Example, the Bushehr nuclear power plant has about 250 Russians working there. Putin has threatened to send more soldiers there, up to 600. And supposedly he's got an agreement with Israel not to target the nuclear power plant there. He says he has their promise not to attack that site. If they did attack it, the radiation that would be released would be tremendous. Then we got the Fordow or however you pronounce it, site. There's no way even a bunker buster could penetrate through all the granite where that is at, and they're talking now about the possibility of a nuclear weapon to take it out. That would be even worse. But I think Putin is hoping that they will attack that site, and Russian soldiers, Russian civilians that are working there would be killed. So that would be his excuse to get involved in the war, because Iran has not asked for their help. The reason I say that, he says the reason they got involved in Ukraine was when Donbass elected or voted to become independent. And then Ukraine started bombing their own people. Donbass did go as an independent country at that time, ask Russia for help. And that's why Russia, according to Putin, got involved in the Ukraine war. So because of that mindset with that war, right now he's not involved with the war that's going on in Iran, because Iran has not asked for help. They're only getting weapons and rockets and drones and things like that. But until they ask for help, they're not going to get involved unless the nuclear power plant is attacked by either Israel or the U.S. He said that they have no intention of removing any of their personnel there, and he had a look on his face like a cat that just ate a bird. Putin also said that there was a saying from the Nazis: the more incredible the lie, the sooner people will believe it. When asked about how Russia would react if Israel killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, Putin refused to answer the question. saying that I don't even want to discuss such possibility. There's a rumor going around that he's no longer there in the country, that about 4 hours before the war broke out, he was in a house and was quickly removed and taken to an underground bunker, and then the house where he was originally at was in fact bombed. Khamenei has rejected U.S. calls for surrender. That's an unconditional surrender. And it's obvious that the Western countries want a complete regime change. But the problem with that is that if they put in the son of the former, he'd just be a puppet. And then that would make it a threat to Putin for the Caspian Sea, which borders Russia. I got an image here I'm showing you. Yeah, there's Tehran, and this is the Caspian Sea. Yeah, they don't want a regime change. Russia does not want a regime change, but the West does, and Israel does. When asked if he was felt threatened by NATO, he said he wasn't. I believe it's $1.4 trillion NATO spent on the military buildup, raising from 3% to 5% of their GDP. He also talked about the endless wars that the U.S. is involved, and he said that was an excuse to cover up their own mistakes with the economy and different things like that. It was just an excuse to collect taxes from the people to cover up, their failures. Well, we all know that there is lots of money in war. Yeah, and look at all the congressmen and senators who have investments in the military complex. Israel has claimed to have killed a top Iranian commander, Saeed Azadi, who led the Palestinian Corps of Overseas Arms, or the Quds Forces. It was announced today. And also, Benhem Sharari was also killed in a strike on his vehicle overnight in western Tehran. He was second in command of the Guards Overseas Arms also. They said that they were responsible of sending missiles and rockets to Hezbollah, Hamas, and Yemen's Houthis, and that was all according to the Israeli military. All the news coming out of Israel has to be approved by the government. There is an estimate of 300 to 800 Israeli deaths, but it can't be collaborated because of the censoring. 300 to 800 people, but the official count is only around 24. Now, according to Reuters, 639 people in Iran have been killed. The casualties there in Israel include locations such as Tel Aviv, Haifa. Now, that's an important port there for Israel. It's going to devastate their economy. Having, missile attacks on Haifa. Also, Bet Yarman, Petah Tarva, and Tamra. So we got 5 areas that are being listed as targeted by Iran. There was a missile strike on June 15th at Bat Ram that destroyed a 10-story apartment building, killing people there. June 17th, Petah Tarva. There was a strike there that killed several people. And then on the same date, the 17th, Ramat Gam, that attack damaged an apartment block. There was significant structural damage that was reported. There was also a missile strike in Haifa. It damaged a power plant, and employees working there had been killed. And then also at, refinery that had to be shut down. In Tamra on June 15th, a 3-story building was destroyed. They're claiming 4 women were killed in that, but I think it was probably a lot more. Then in Beersheba on June 19th, it struck the medical center, a major hospital in southern Israel, causing extensive damage to the surgical wing and injuring at least 32 people. Now, they claim most of the injuries were minor. I doubt that too. Iran claimed the target was adjacent to the IDF Command and Intelligence Center. Iran has also claimed to have targeted Tel Nof Air Base, a key Israeli Air Force facility, the Israeli Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Economy in Tel Aviv, a gas platform off the Gaza Strip coast, and the Ramat David Air Base identified as a hub for attacks on Iran. So that's all I have for you right now. Like I said, news is being censored. It has to go through the military of Israel before it's being approved to be released. What are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Please thumbs up my videos. It'll help with the censoring. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.